as far as the quarterback thing with Shedeur, we don't have to spend the whole show on it. There's a narrative though that we've got to, people nationally are pushing a narrative that isn't true. They're saying 32 NFL teams passed over him, 144 picks. Let's be realistic. All right, Waterboys College Football Show, our NFL Draft recap edition. A big shout out to the boys from Athletically Declined. I got to go do their draft show in Houston. That was really fun.
That's awesome.
I've never done anything to that level for that long. I've never sat there for 7 hours.
I went back and looked at that today. The full live stream was over 10 hours long.
Dude, and them boys did it right. I mean, I walked in there. It looked like we were on the set of ESPN. I was like, "Oh, they're taking this little radio kid from Oklahoma, and they're like, oh, we're doing it." I was like, I hope I can hang with these guys.
Yeah, it looked excellent.
So
nice. I'm going to check it out.
But yeah, draft was interesting. I think a couple of just overall observations. I think the guy that got the short end of the stick at this entire draft is Cam Ward.
Yeah.
He could have been drafted or not been drafted, and I don't think that anyone would have noticed based on the way that ESPN decided they were going to cover the draft.
They didn't even air his on-stage interview.
No.
In all my years of watching football and the draft in the NFL, in the NFL, I have never seen a number one pick just get blatant disrespect by ESPN like that.
Yeah. And it definitely didn't help. I think the Shedeur of it all was part of it, but it also didn't help that right after he got picked, the Jags moved up to the second spot with Cleveland, making that trade with Cleveland. And because everybody knew Travis Hunter was going second.
That was really unexpected.
Yeah, and I think that coupled with what's going to happen with Shedeur now? It was just so weird. It almost felt like it was kind of a microcosm of the last college football season, because I felt like, I don't know if you guys feel this way too, but Cam Ward was probably one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country last season, but he just was never brought up in conversations when it came to quarterback conversation. Everybody knew that he was probably the consensus first draft pick, but for some reason it felt like they weren't talking about him on college football shows around the country. And it might be, maybe it's a nature of Cam Ward's demeanor and his personality. He's pretty, keeps to himself, pretty quiet, just goes out and just works hard and does what he has to do. But at the same time, it's if you're this kid's going to be the first overall draft pick. He's going to be the new starting quarterback of an NFL franchise in the fall. Why are we not talking about him more? Well,
and it felt bad because Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, in my opinion, the two best quarterbacks in the draft. I don't even think it was close. And then college football last year, I felt like those two guys had the most NFL ready play. They were NFL ready as a player. When you watch them, you could see them in an NFL offense.
Yeah.
But both of them have the same problem. Kind of boring guys. Don't have a lot of flair to their game. They do a lot of things really, really well. And the two quarterbacks that got all the shine last year for college football are Shedeur Sanders and Carson Beck. Both guys who have baggage, however you want to term baggage and whatever you want to call under baggage, they have baggage. So we spend an entire college football season consumed with these two guys.
Yeah.
They get the clicks.
It's funny because I can't remember the name of the show. Maybe it was Hard Knocks or one of those shows like that where they followed Dion for the entire season at Jackson State. I watched, you watch that and it's almost like a different kind of Shedeur during that season. And then I was thinking about this earlier. Then as soon as I got to Colorado, it's just they almost had to start, this kind of narrative of, a weird kind of underdog mentality, which is fine, but how it's just, I don't know. There's been so much Hollywood kind of around it that maybe it's kind of taken away some from the football and athleticism and whatnot. And I think Shedeur Sanders, is a promising young kid. He does have tremendous talent. Someone like that, I'm not mad that Michael Penix had to sit, especially with, Kirk Cousins there. I love Kirk Cousins. He gets it. He seems like a great dude. And even when Penix got the opportunity to play, and even before that, he was just trying to pour as much information as he could into Penix Jr. because he knows that obviously his days is numbered, but he still has some gas in the tank, at least he thinks, and still wants to play. I love that. But, you can't take it with you necessarily kind of when you go, knowledge that is. So, and those guys like want to try to pass that on. Like, it's been nice seeing Joe Flacco play the past 2 seasons. Like, I can't imagine what knowledge he's had to share with a lot of these younger quarterbacks. And it's funny because I watched a video earlier where Jackson Dart was hanging out with John Gruden and they were watching film and stuff like that. And Gruden just started hammering about kind of being reckless with running the football instead of smarter quarterback play, maybe getting out of bounds or throwing it out of bounds and stuff like that. And I've been saying it, I know that Brian Kelly can maybe be a controversial figure or whatnot, but LSU, man, is pumping out some great quarterbacks as of recent, from Joe Burrow to now Jalen Daniels. And to see, like, watching Jaden this past season, he can use his legs when he needs to, but he doesn't always revert to that. And he didn't have the best O-line, just like Caleb Williams didn't either. But he knows how to be smart with the football. And when he has an opportunity to run, he obviously uses his legs. But that's something that I've noticed LSU has done a really good job of coaching is, one, getting guys in the trenches, like our boy Will Campbell up in New England now. And, he played 3 seasons at LSU. He only missed 2 games. And he started his first year playing there. He's had a lot of time playing a lot of football and been very successful, even though there's been discrepancies about his arm length. But when they've invested in a good O-line like that, and that kind of maybe allows them to kind of teach better quarterback pocket style playing. So it's nice to see that. I think, again, that plays a big role into why concussion rates are up and quarterback injuries are up. Tom Brady has said it best. He keeps waving the flag, and we're not teaching better quarterback play. And as appealing as that is, being able to use your legs, essentially, I think you want to be well-rounded. So, point being, I wouldn't be mad to see Shedeur sitting for at least 2 seasons. And because their quarterback room has just kind of been comical at this point. The past couple of years, it's like
they have
what's
5
going
guys.
on?
5 guys in that room right now that have all been starters or could be starters at some point in their career. And looking at the Browns quarterback room, I think Shedeur Sanders is the most talented quarterback in that quarterback room. The question is are the Browns ready to have a rookie quarterback go out there and lead their team? Is, like, as an organization, as a franchise, is Cleveland ready for something like that? A little fun fact though to your Joe Flacco thought, because Kirk Cousins, giving some knowledge to his the guy that's going to be replacing him essentially. Joe Flacco, when he was in Denver for that one season, and Drew Lock was a rookie, Joe Flacco wanted nothing to do with teaching Drew Lock how to play quarterback at the NFL level. So I do not like Joe Flacco for more than that reason. Obviously, he beat us in the 2014 AFC Championship game, or was it 2012 AFC Championship game? So there's so many reasons for me to not like Joe Flacco. So I don't think that Joe Flacco is going to be the guy that's going to like, hey, Shedeur, let me have a conversation and teach you how to play the quarterback position. I just don't see it.
No, I don't.
I think that I need Cleveland to be the Hard Knocks team this year, because I just want to see that quarterback room throughout the process.
Them and the Giants, please. Yes. We need Jameson Winstead, Russell Wilson, and Jackson Dart. Like, what's that quarterback room going to be like with those characters?
I have no idea
because Brian Daboll got his guy now.
Yeah,
but 2 of the 3 guys on that roster are not his guy.
No.
So, it'll be interesting. As far as the quarterback, thing with Shedeur, we don't have to spend the whole show on it. There's a narrative though that we've got to, like, people nationally are pushing a narrative that isn't true. They're saying, so 32 NFL teams passed over him, 144 picks. Let's be realistic. There was maybe 5 teams that were looking for a quarterback in that draft.
Yeah, starting quarterback.
Yeah. So he didn't get passed over by 32 teams and go 144. He got passed over by 5 teams in 3 or 4 rounds. It's not like, whether you like him, love him. I see a lot of problems with his game, especially after talking to a couple of guys. He was not going to be an upgrade for a majority of the teams drafting. I heard people, the Cowboys could take him. Dak's had injury problems. I don't care. I'll take Dak at 80% right now over Shedeur Sanders as a rookie in Dallas.
You ain't been hit by TJ Watt yet, man. Nobody was hitting you like that in Colorado. It's different.
And they ran an offense that was geared towards making Shedeur look really, really talented. And there's nothing wrong with that. That can happen Leakin ran offenses at Oklahoma that put quarterbacks that literally couldn't sniff a starting job at other schools. He put them in an offense where it made them look like
they won the Heisman Trophy. Yeah. Every time.
It can be done, but talking to one guy, he said, my biggest problem with him is, if you watch him, the joke about the padding the football, he's like, it's not a joke.
It's a slow release for sure.
It's a tick.
Yeah.
And he said, and then watching him pass up intermediate routes and shorter routes to get yardage to let Travis get open, at the NFL level, you can't do that. So even if you say, but he can throw the intermediate route, he can throw the short slant, okay, but he didn't do it. And then you didn't throw a combine. You did your own pro day.
You didn't interview well.
Yeah, you didn't show. You might have all the talent to do these things, but you didn't show people, either when you were at Colorado and you didn't show them on an NFL pro, you didn't show them that you could do those things.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with Shedeur. I think he is an incredibly talented quarterback, and that shows by his completion percentage on passes where he had a clean pocket, which didn't happen a lot. Colorado's offensive line needs an overhaul. Coach Brown's got to figure out how to recruit that piece, but his completion percentage was incredible when he was kept clean. The issue was he was having to run around for his life for the most part the whole time, and just like you were saying, it's just the talent is probably there. I definitely have seen the flashes. The issue was the consistency and the willingness to actually show that talent. I think I actually had this conversation with my youth pastor at our church that I work with. It was the funny thing about Shedeur to me, and I could be totally off base with saying this, but he expects the prime time treatment without doing the prime time work. And we just had Ricky Waters on 3 weeks ago, and he was talking to us about what Dion did in the locker room, at practice, all of that stuff. And he earned that nickname. He earned the media scrutiny, the media attention. Shedeur, probably could earn it himself. It's just almost that he expects it to happen, or he did expect that prime time, that prime respect, without doing any of the stuff to earn that respect for the most part. I definitely still think that Shedeur could have a really good NFL career.
Isn't it funny,
I just need
though?
to see it.
Right. And isn't it funny, though? I at least saw Shiloh's post that when Shiloh basically fired his dad as his agent and hired a real one, he was instantly drafted by the Bucks.
Yeah, they don't want Dion they don't want Dion as a part of the negotiations. And that is not a knock against Deion Sanders. I think any player who has their dad as an agent, no NFL team wants any part of it. I was talking to somebody about it during the draft show. I said, for all that we can talk bad about the way the NFL's run, at the end of the day, you are interviewing for a job.
Yeah.
If your mom showed up to your first interview as a guy that has hired hundreds of people in my career, your interview would be 5 minutes. Because I'd go, I don't need, like, first time you get, like, want to call in sick or whatever, mom's going to call me. And I've had that happen. And I always tell, the managers, hey, this employee's mom just called in for him. Just letting you know, he ain't long for this world. Like, if he's not going to be able to handle his own problems, that's what it is. And the other part of it is, outside of the second round, the last thing the team wants to do is bring in a backup that the media is going to run right past the starting quarterback and want to talk to the backup quarterback.
Yep.
Especially when you've shown through social media that you might say some stuff that an NFL team doesn't want that. They don't want that smoke. They want to have to deal with it. They don't want the head coach show up Monday for press conference and you're talking to him about the backup. They don't want to deal with that. So, I thought maybe New Orleans was going to be a spot that he would go. I thought Kellen Moore could do something with him. And then I made the comment on the draft show. We're talking a lot about why the quarterbacks this year, where they are. A lot of it has to do with the quarterbacks that are coming out of college next year. If you're a team that can wait, if you're a first-year head coach, you got at least a couple years here. If you can hold off on taking somebody, there's a few quarterbacks coming out of college next year that might be a much better fit for you.
Yeah, and if you consistently draft great football players, you will eventually become a great football team.
Yes. You don't have to start with a quarterback.
Yeah.
And locker room culture is different. He's got guys in his locker room now like Myles Garrett, who's, on the back side of his career now. Really
wants to win.
He wants to win. He wants to win a Super Bowl. He's not going to put up with certain shenanigans like that.
He will hit you with your own helmet.
Yeah.
if
Be grateful that you're on his team, because that's the first thing I think about is these rookies like that coming into the league, getting hit for the first time by Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa or TJ Watt, some of those guys. And it's like, okay, welcome to the big time, baby. Here we go.
Bo Nix's first 2 games last season against the Seattle defense in Seattle, and then against TJ Watt the next week.
Dude, it's different. That speed.
You're not getting hit like that in college, man, unless you play, I guess, Georgia, because, Philly's got all their linemen.
Well, and I do love I love the edge rushers we're being drafted this year. Oh, it's so much fun.
I think teams have really figured out, like, it's edge rusher and it's quarterback. And if you can hit on either one of those, you're probably going to win 10 games.
Well, because, like, Abdul Carter was getting the Micah Parsons comp. And I said on the draft show, I said, here's what Micah Parsons does for the Cowboys. He covers up a lot of ills on your defense. He can really cover up a lot of problems you might have at other positions because he's going to create pressure so fast that your quarterback is going to have to take that first or second. He's going to have to take that check down.
And it'll be from anywhere.
Yeah. And so, if you can have an edge rusher that can really put some pressure on you, you can go into free agency and start piecing together some other stuff that you need. So, Giants, I thought Giants had one of the best drafts that I've seen from Giants probably since the Eli Manning years. I thought, okay, they made some really smart moves here to be able to put some stuff together. We were just balls deep in draft stats, but Will Campbell gets, taken and they're like, short arms. So I thought, okay, what's his arm? I think it's 32.5 or whatever. I start Googling, who else has
Matt White had short arms.
Yeah.
Matt White killed it in New England.
Lane Johnson got short arms like that. Creed Humphrey got short arms like that. Okay. I don't think any of that matters, for that. And Will Campbell kept his quarterback clean all year. It says something. And he's not playing.
Every time he speaks, I just fall in love with him.
He's
my new man crush.
I mean,
it is nice.
I mean, he's just awesome. But, and he was playing in the SEC. He's not playing Colorado State, Utah State. So, he's playing against NFL talent at a lot of positions. And he's getting doubled a lot.
I mean, 3 years, like I was saying earlier, 3 years at LSU, started his first year and only missed 2 games. So a lot of reps, a lot of playing time. That's great.
I felt like I had to eat my words a little bit. I think Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders is the perfect fit. I
hate it so much, man. Oh my God. He's going to be wasted away in Las Vegas like Elvis Presley. I can't believe it.
I was so waiting for the Broncos to trade up. I was like,
oh, I wanted them to, but
here's a good time.
Shedeur Sanders
thinking that was a good. Yeah, I was thinking the Broncos were going to do that.
Yeah. I did too, because that was like the one piece on the Broncos offense that just is not good, was the running backs. And in this class, you're like, there's a running back here for us to go grab. I wanted Ashton Jeanty so badly. I wanted them to make the move, but it just didn't happen. And then we stayed put at 20. And then I was like, what? We went DB? So I don't know. It's really exciting though. Like the prospect, because, you know, we went and picked up Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga from the 49ers this offseason. And then we added the Thorpe Award winner to the defensive backfield that also has the defensive player of the year on the other side of the field. Like,
it's going to be hard to throw long on.
Yeah. All Bo Nix is going to have to do is score 10 points, and he's going to win every freaking game they play this year.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
But maybe that'll help Denver's defense like get kick-started earlier. It seems like the past 2, maybe 3 seasons, they start firing on all cylinders towards the back half of the season.
Yeah, it was kind of the opposite this year. They kind of broke down the last 4 or 5 games of this season this last year. And it was because there were some injuries on the back end. Like Riley Moss got hurt. There were some weird injuries on the back end and stuff. And so maybe that was why they went Jahdae Barron in first round and then RJ Harvey in the second round, which I loved that pick. I didn't even really know much about RJ Harvey at the time because I was thinking about like 5 other running backs that the Broncos could go get, and then they just started going one by one in the second round. I'm like, oh no, they're all gone. What are we gonna do? Oh, he's Ashton Jeanty light. Like that's kind of like what everybody is saying about him. He ran a 4.4 flat 40 his last 2 seasons at UCF, which is in the Big 12. So he's running against the same defenses that all of these other running backs are running against, essentially. 3,000 yards rushing, almost another 500 receiving in the last 2 seasons. Like, the dude's a dog.
At UCF, which is typically a spread it all over the field, throw it all over the field team.
Yeah.
You can reach that type of yardage.
And something happened. Gus Malzahn did not get the most out of KJ Jefferson this last season. That UCF offense was bad, and the only reason they won any game was because of RJ Harvey, and he's the new Broncos running back, which I'm super excited about. He's short. He's 5'8". Yeah. As a former 5'7" running back, I love it. Like my short king. Like let's go. Like bring it on.
I was a little at first thrown off a little bit. I got the feeling going down into the Bears number 10 pick we were going to take tight end, and at first I felt like we didn't take. I was like, hold on, we're taking Loveland over Warren. Like what are we doing? But then I think about it. You got Komet.
Yeah,
he's your bruiser, and then you're getting Loveland is a little more finesse, a little more Travis Kelce.
You know why they got him, right? Sam Laporta. You watch his film. He kind of moves like Laporta a little bit, and I saw some stuff on that, and I was like, that makes sense.
That's a good comp, actually.
And he catches the ball. He high points the ball like a receiver would. Like he's keeping it out of, the way of DBs, and he's tall, so I think it could be fun. Looking down at it, a couple other guys that I thought, Shamar Stewart, edge rusher, Cincinnati. I had not watched a lot of his film until we were prepping for the draft. Edge rusher, Texas A&M. That kid's gonna just wreak havoc.
Didn't he have like 4 sacks in his career?
Yeah,
that's so bizarre.
Yeah,
like he had a high win rate at the line of scrimmage, but like couldn't finish. I don't know what was happening there.
He had a lot. And it's not a bad thing to have, but it doesn't show up on a stat sheet. So some guys are the like wreak havoc guy, but they're not
make the quarterback step up in the pocket into the rest of the pressure.
And they're not going to finish the sack. Like somebody else is going to get the sack, but then you watch the film and you look what happened because over here, offensive line is having to overload to try to hold this guy off. So I think that'll be interesting.
They went defense first and second round. That's hilarious. Smart move. Good job, Bengals. Like you needed to.
Shocker of the first round for me. Green Bay Packers took a wide receiver. They haven't taken a wide receiver in the first round
since 02.
Like 02, 03.
You know, Aaron Rodgers was watching that, was just like, you son of a.
I'm like, he's got pent up aggression.
And we were telling the Texans fans that were there because they really, they wanted Golden, and I go, listen, Minnesota, I don't think needs him, and I'm like looking at it, and the Houston guy said, dude, don't worry, Green Bay didn't take wide receivers first round.
And they did.
I was like, dude, I feel bad. That sucks.
Which, I mean, now that they've added a first round wide receiver to that wide receiver room, Jordan Love's got no more excuses.
No, it's
put up or shut up this year for Jordan Love in Green Bay.
Green Bay and Chicago, their quarterbacks have no excuse now.
None.
Like, you got offensive line help, you got wide receiver help, you got new tight ends. Like, it's a big put up and shut up. Shout out to Kentucky, Maxwell Harston going to Buffalo. It's a good fit for him as a corner.
That is.
A recent shout out on the pod too. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that I have to play against him. And shout out to Upton Tout, I think's his name. WKU player. WKU being like 10 minutes from me, Western Kentucky. He got drafted in the 5th round, I believe, by the 49ers. So shout out to him.
Cleveland, top of 2nd round, taking a linebacker. I don't want to play that Cleveland. If you're listen, I don't want to play Cleveland. Sheer, that's good. You're gonna get beat up playing Cleveland.
Rephrase that. Yeah, you don't want to play Cleveland's defense.
Yeah, you're gonna score on them pretty easy, or you're gonna their offense cannot score, and that's fine. But because their quarterback room is just going to be a mess. But yeah, if you pull out, that reminds me, 11 against Cleveland, I consider that like a win.
That reminds me, because I was telling somebody about this yesterday. I'll tell you guys real quick, and for the pod, one of the craziest bets I've ever won. It was 2 seasons ago, and it was when the Browns played the Jets. And at this current time in the season, the Browns and the Jets' defense was scoring more points almost per game than their offenses were. So I was like, you know what? I've got this hitch. I'm going to just do it. I put $5 and did a parlay for both defenses to score a touchdown, and it happened.
How much did you win?
$500.
Oh my God.
Easiest $500 I've ever made off 5, because it was just so. And I was explaining to the person I was telling, I was like, it's just so random. That never happens. But I remember at least the past 4 games leading up to that game. They played at MetLife. But yeah, I remember watching that game vividly. I was like, here we go. And then I think it was Cleveland's defense got the first touchdown. And then I want to say maybe the Jets, they ran it back for a pick 6. But I was like, oh my God, this is the wildest bet, craziest, luckiest bet I've ever hit. Yeah, you were talking
Cleveland's. Keep going.
But I was just going to say, you were talking about their defense and scoring points. It reminded me of that.
No, I'm excited to watch the Browns running backs. Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson.
Yep.
Dude.
Okay, who's just not excited to watch running backs, period, right now?
I don't know. The running back is getting resurrected, and I love it.
Yes.
We're going to get highlights. We're going to get running back highlights on ESPN for the first time in God knows how long that are not named Saquon Barkley. Like,
New England is going to get highlights again on running backs. It's going to be great, man. I'm excited.
Y'all got Henderson. I thought was really underrated at Ohio State. I think he's the product of so much talent on the Buckeyes that he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think that's same things at wide receiver.
He's a culture
Which is crazy. He averaged like 6.5 yards a carry for his career,
and you didn't hear it. That's what
he split time with Quinshon Judkins last year and still had over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, it's very weird that
like the freshman touchdown record he broke Maurice Claret's freshman rushing touchdown record, which stood for 20 years.
Yeah, they asked me about it when he got down to 38, and they said there's still an Ohio State running back on the board, and for a second I thought, what? No,
I was begging the Broncos to make a call. Oh, I was begging.
Right?
But
he seems like and I think the Patriots did a great job of drafting this round. I give him an A+. Culture guys, character guys, with Will Campbell and Henderson, and it's going to be nice to see that and some rookie players up in Boston this year.
Yeah, Dallas at 44 taking Donovan. I'm not going to try to say his name from Boston College.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
Pairing him with Micah, he's going to.
And they're just collecting offensive linemen named Tylers like the freaking Infinity Stones.
What's so funny is they just got rid of one that was named Tyler, so they would have had Tyler.
That's crazy.
So, which is fun. I think it will be good. Will Johnson from Michigan, a great pick for the Cardinals. Really out, if there hadn't been, a corner out / whatever you want to call him out at Colorado, I think there'd have been a lot more talk about Will Johnson at corner at Michigan. Just really is a guy that could cut the field in half for you and put your put the defense in a lot of 3rd and longs instead of 3rd and shorts when he could cut the field off like that. So I think that's going to be interesting for them.
Yeah, they went all defense except for guard in the 6th round.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Cardinals had a sneaky good draft.
Yeah,
they did.
In Houston.
Yeah, Houston fans were a little upset. They really thought Houston needed to trade up to get Golden. I think they redeemed themselves in 2nd, 3rd rounds and made some good moves. I love Trey Harris out of Ole Miss to the Chargers. He made Jackson Dart's job a lot easier at Ole Miss. I think he was one of the better wide receivers in the draft that is probably going to, really have a really good career.
Not at LA.
Well, that's
the
problem.
They got Jim Harbaugh and Omarion Hampton and J.K. Dobbins. They are not throwing the football this next season. I don't see it happening.
I need Harbaugh to not be Harbaugh next year. That's what I need.
Yeah. I mean, you got Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris now. I still think that Quentin Johnston has some ball skills.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs to start playing like it. But I need the Chargers to chill for just a second.
I need to get over my grudge on Ladd McConkey from last year, us passing on him. I still hear his name, and I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
Could have had him.
Yeah,
it was cool. You know what I think? Here's my steal of the draft. And it's going to be real homer sounding, too. Will Howard in the 4th round to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That up.
I called that weeks ago. I thought he is the perfect follow-up to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
He's a big guy. He's athletic. Yeah, I was very excited about that pick for him. Will Howard almost had 40 touchdowns this season, won a national championship, led one of the most difficult college football programs to lead as a quarterback to the promised land. Like, we were ready to crucify Will Howard after that Michigan game. Like, it was
bad.
The cross was being built. And then he came out and just lit up Tennessee and then lit up Oregon. It was just nothing but success in the college football playoff. And now he's he's a hero forever at Ohio State. Was there for one season. So I'm excited for him there.
He reminds me a little bit of some of the flack that some of the Michigan quarterbacks used to get when Harbaugh was there. They'd be like, "Oh, they're just game managers." I was like, "That win, I don't care if they're."
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts is a good game manager. He's not going to wow you with, touch on the ball or arm strength, but he's winning a lot of football games.
Yeah,
I'll take a pocket passer, running backs, and tight ends all day long. Worked in New England.
I do have to shout out my Sooners. We didn't have a lot of guys in the draft, obviously. But Danny Stutzman will be down in New Orleans. And then
I wanted him to fall to the Broncos so badly.
He's a worker. He's a guy you bring into the locker room that is just going to outwork everybody. I think he can make a squad.
6th round, not 4th round.
Billy Bowman. that was his partner in crime at Oklahoma. Weird thing that Billy Bowman used to hang around my store when I worked at Liz when he was like a freshman. It's just weird. Like he would come in to just hang out. And I'm like, that's still weird. This guy's getting drafted. And I'd have to like tell
What's
him,
up, man?
You can't hang out my store and you either got to buy something or, well, no, nothing else to do. I thought that was weird. A lot of Texas players on the draft. That's not uncommon. Yeah. Every year there's a lot of Texas guys, but the fact that they were really good, and then there was a lot of Texas guys.
D-line and wide receiver, and Jaden Blue too. He went to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. Which Texas D lineman going didn't surprise me whatsoever.
No, that's like feels like it's every single year that was got something.
That was their best piece on defense, and Jahdae Barron. Obviously, that kid's great.
What do y'all think of Milroe?
Man, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Where did he go again? Seattle, right? Or am I thinking the Raiders?
Nope, Seahawks, 3rd round.
Seahawks. That'll be interesting.
I don't know what the deal. Like I try not to read too much into it, but sometimes I think there's certain schools that their quarterbacks just get a bad rap. And Alabama kind of sometimes is one of those. Like people want to come up with a reason for them to not be. I got it in years when like Alabama is just so much better than everyone else in college football, where like some of that hate, like I get, but like Alabama wasn't anything to like compared to what they were when Nick was there. And I think he did a really good job. But
I have mixed feelings on Jalen Milroe.
Well, because sometimes he looks great, and sometimes he doesn't.
Jalen Milroe is who people think Lamar Jackson is.
Yes,
and it was weird to me that he went so high. I didn't think he was like a 3rd round guy, but I mean, I don't know anything. No, none of us know anything. But
no, half these guys will be convinced they're going to like be all pro and they'll be out of the league in 5 years.
Right? Yeah, it was a weird pick.
Can we finally stop hating on my man Bill O'Brien now? He's not the one that, whatever with his kid. Like, since I've been waiting for all that just to kind of fade so we can see, if he prove himself and how, if those comments that he claimed, or I think Billy O did say it, but about him not being essentially a good enough quarterback or whatnot. So I was like, man, use this as Waterboy, tackle and fuel, use it as an opportunity to change the narrative. And he didn't kind of really do that. So I don't know. There's a lot of quarterbacks though, again, that's got talent and athleticism. I think it's just another valid reason why I'm all for some of these guys setting for a year or two, really getting some development. Maybe come in, if it's a blowout game, give them some reps. Well, Joe Milton got reps the very last game and cost us the dang first pick. But you want those guys to play and not put out good film, but yeah, I'm not opposed at all to them setting and getting some reps in.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it earlier on too in the show, but like the quarterbacks are so athletic now.
Yeah.
God. When they're in college, they are almost encouraged to just rely on that athleticism, and I think that's the piece of why like the pocket quarterback is kind of going by the wayside. Like maybe Tom Brady has something to say, a little bit about that. But so yes, sitting and learning how to be an NFL quarterback, work from the pocket, right? And only break out if you have to, right? I mean, Patrick Mahomes could run out, get on the edge, and throw just crazy throws every single down. He has that kind of talent. But he doesn't do it because that's not the best, most efficient way to play the quarterback position.
Well, and it can sometimes get offensive linemen hurt.
Yeah.
So he's going to be fun to watch because as he gets older, he's going to have to relearn things and learn new things about his body, how his body can work, react to certain things, but keep that up. So, and that, I mean, Tom Brady is
more from the pocket and now
than
he ever has.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Saving his legs.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, of course, Pro Football Focus did the way too early ranking for college quarterbacks, but this is kind of what we're talking about. If you can wait till next year, Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. I like him. I don't trust anything that Clemson does, though, ever. I just think that program's weird, and I don't know that they can get him a whole lot of help, but he does have a lot of talent. Sam Leavitt out of Arizona State. He'll be in the Big 12, so he's going to put up a lot of numbers. Carson Beck, as we call him, the WWE heel. We are
good buddy Carson.
Yeah, we're the Hate Carson Beck podcast. But
not on purpose. It just happens.
He brings a lot of this.
Kind of brings it on him. I was getting ready to say it. You took the words out of my mouth, especially after that whole Nashville video with his ex and
yeah. And you know the best thing about that video is no one looks more uncomfortable in that video than Kai Trump. Like you could tell she's just like, I just was asking how you was doing. Like I didn't.
I wouldn't.
So,
imagine your grandpa's president, and you get asked about the quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes. That's crazy.
That's a good day.
Which I'm fine with 100%. That I'm glad that that's probably what she was asked about, but like. That would still be just like a weird, like, do you realize like who I'm related to? Like, ask me other questions.
That is like deer in the headlights. She's like, oh God, thank you. Someone's not asking me about my grandpa. Cool. Yeah. Here's what I think. Drew Allard from Penn State, Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. That he could be really fun to watch. They got Arch Manning ranked 6th on this list. But if he has a okay season, he will be the first quarterback taken next year
after week 1.
Yes.
Who's going to be his agent
for week 1?
Peyton or Eli?
That's a good question. DJ Lagway out of Florida. Vandy's got a quarterback they're excited about. Nico, they got him still with Tennessee. Pro Football Focus, he's at UCLA. He will not put up the numbers at UCLA. He's going to a school that has no weapons.
Yeah. Do we remember that last time Nico played against a Big Ten football team?
Didn't go well.
2 of his helmets got broken. Just throwing that out there.
And he had an offense with like dudes. So I don't know what he's walking to at UCLA. One of the guys I'm excited. Kevin Jennings out of SMU. SMU is put together some really fun, high-powered offenses. They just can't stop nobody. Which was pretty evident when they made it to the college football playoff. But he could be really fun. And then, of course, Mateer at Oklahoma will be coming out. That if you're wanting to draft somebody that's been playing since Noah came over on the arc, Mateer is at Oklahoma. So, last thing I've got on, I have gotten no more fun than I've gotten out of a pick than watching Travis Hunter look like. He looks like every kid.
He's so happy.
My gosh, that kid just wants to play. He's just so excited to be playing football.
I love that. I love guys that love football just for the love of the game. And it makes sense. He just won the Heisman because you're one of the best two-way players we've ever seen in college football. I love it. The kid just exudes football. And then you guys see the press conference where the GM was like, we're questioning everything. We're going to make you question the way that you think about the game of football. And I'm like, brother, you are in Jacksonville. No one asks questions in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Like
they throw a Molotov cocktail and then they go eat at a nasty wing dump.
It's not.
Dude, the AFC South just got so much more ratings.
Nobody more.
They've been needing it too.
Like, hey, we're going to get some nationally televised games this year.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And the Texans are like, are we the only adults in the room? What are we doing here?
That's exactly what they were thinking. I do love that he was as excited as he was about playing. He was more excited about going and walking at Colorado to graduate. Dude, that says so much about a guy when he's like,
I love that.
Not only did I carry a 4.0, I can't wait to go back and walk for graduation. You're like, see, ESPN, this is what kids that are watching it, we're wanting them to look at guys like this, not Shedeur. like you got two completely polar opposite like makeups to people, and we concentrating on the one guy that like, you know, is showing up to practice with a Rolex on. Let that happen one time in Cleveland. Show up to practice with a Rolex on. See if Myles Garrett doesn't rip that Rolex off your wrist.
Yeah.
And character guys like that too, it gives me hope, especially like after football, because I know a lot of athletes can struggle after they stop playing sports professionally. You know, like, what do I do with myself? What do I do with my time and a new purpose, if you will, in life, career-wise, you know, outside of family? And I feel like he gets it, you know. And Ashton Jeanty is another one of those character guys, reminds me of the same thing. You know, so, and that's going to serve you well as you start your career, and obviously, you know, throughout it and post career. So seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, definitely. The Broncos' first 3 picks were all team captains.
Yeah.
So it was like Sean Payton has an obvious type, and it's cool. It's cool to filling your locker room with guys like that are good enough to be voted by their team to be a team captain, wear a C on their jersey every single Saturday. Like, I think that's so special. And I think this draft class specifically had a bunch of those kinds of guys in it.
Yeah, your boy Cam Scatterboo. Yeah. I know you don't like him, but
him and Carter in New York, that's going to be interesting to watch.
It's going to be, I hope he's successful. I just don't think he's going to be.
That's all right.
Let me just say that. It's not that I don't like Cam Scatterboo. It's that I don't think Cam Scatterboo is an NFL caliber running back.
He's not Christian McCaffrey.
Please, Hard Knocks. If anybody from Hard Knocks sees this, please follow the Giants and the Browns next year.
Yes, and clip
the Jags in there too.
I'll interview Cam myself and be like, "I'm sorry, dude. You had 27 touchdowns this season. That was amazing. I never thought that anything like that would ever happen."
That's 2 quarterback rooms we need footage from.
Yep.
We need to know what goes on in those QB meeting rooms and on the field and sidelines and stuff. We need that content.
Last thing we got to talk about, although I didn't want to talk about it, we have to talk about it. UNC a little worried about Jordan and her relationship with Bill. If you didn't see
it's getting a little weird.
Yeah, what?
That interview was weird, man.
Hey, Bill, if you happen to see this, blink once if you're okay. Blink twice. Need you, boy.
He doesn't care.
You.
Yeah, dude. I do think, you know, I'm trying to give her credit. I think she's trying to keep him out of the clickbaity media stuff.
Yeah. If she's trying, like, let's look at this glass half full. If she's like actively trying to keep the main thing, good on her. But if you want to look at it glass half empty,
why don't you want to talk about where y'all met?
Yeah.
Why don't you?
How'd you meet? What happened there? Why is it so secretive? I need to know. I got some questions.
Yeah. The longer you wait, headlines, people are going to spin things. I mean, you could just come out and address it head on and get it over with and then deal with that.
Because I guess they met on a plane. People meet on planes all the time. That's not a weird story. If that's the story.
Like an airplane?
Yeah, they met on an airplane. If that's the story, people meet on airplanes. That's not like an unknown thing. Now, if you met on a dating app, okay, well, that's a little weird, but get out in front of it. Like,
yeah,
you're letting the media now write the narrative. Build on.
Yeah, they met on Raya.
I was thinking head coaches only.
Coaches is healthy.
That interview, man, she was like, "We're not."
What did she coach?
That. I'm like,
it was like an immediate response. Like the first thing, like Bill answered the first question, and then they asked the next follow-up question, and she's like, "We're not talking about that." And I was like, "Oh my God,
this is what you signed up for." I don't think Bill cares.
I don't think he does either.
But honey, this is what you signed up for. I mean, it's going to happen.
He's probably sitting in the chair thinking, I thought we were going to be talking about football, but now they got to ask dumb questions about my freaking 23-year-old girlfriend. What the heck is this?
Look at him. He's living every guy that has a midlife crisis dream right now. And I don't fault him for it. Like
midlife, he's 70.
But
he's going to coach for another 50 years, Strez. What are you talking about?
The first ever 120-year-old college football champion.
They're going to figure out that stuff that Walt Disney did. Well, he's preserved. He's frozen, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
Is that real?
He's going to figure out some kind of fountain of youth Walt Disney thing, and him and Tom Brady's going to get the band back together, and they're going to play until they're 200. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Somebody was like, I just don't know why they're together. I was like, have you seen a picture of her? You can't figure out why they're together? I mean, I'm not a moron here. Like some 23-year-old girl's like,
she's attractive. He's rich. They seem happy.
Seems like
he needs company on his yacht that's named 8 Rings. So I mean,
yeah, he's a guy. He's a guy. At
the
end of the day, he's just a guy. And I see it all. We saw it at the beach. We were in Houston. Went to that horrible thing they call a beach down there at whatever the port is for all those cruises. Dude over there probably looked 75 with a girl that looked 25. And I told Brittany, I go, that's Bill Belichick Jordan right there. That's it. You want to know it? That's it. That right there. That's somebody got money. Somebody need money. It's a pretty simple formula here.
College is expensive, man.
It is. It's very expensive. So,
get this Rodney Dangerfield on.
Yeah, he's fine.
I got no respect. My wife doesn't respect me.
Bill, win 3 or 4 games in a row. Last thing we'll be talking about is your girlfriend. It won't matter.
Yeah, make UNC relevant.
And another topic is, what about their quarterback leaving? I wonder who's going to play quarterback there next year.
What was he there a total of a month?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I think Bill is probably the type of guy that does it a little bit like it's the NFL, where he just calls him in and goes, "All right, you're just not going to play." I think that's probably what happened. He probably saw something, went, "Nah, this ain't my guy." I was like, dude didn't even get into spring practice and he's already gone.
As a lifelong Pats fan, man, I would have loved for the Hard Knocks thing to work out, because I could see.
Well, we know why.
I have to assume
after that interview, I can probably guess why Hard Knocks is not.
She's shutting that down quick.
I just have to think that Steve Belichick's very involved. Especially after coaching at Washington, like trying to help his dad out, connect with these kids and stuff like that. That's the biggest thing. I'm hoping Bill has a good team around him, to connect with these players. Obviously, he's going to get respect just because of who he is right out of the gate. But, you got to be able to connect. And it's interesting watching more athletes who's played the game and done it and been there, getting into coaching and seeing how that translates, with these college kids and even NFL players and stuff now. So,
yeah. I mean, Bill's good. He's pretty plugged into youth culture now,
Well, and I will say this, she's not controlling everything, because that sweatshirt he was wearing looked like it was 100 years old. And I'm sure she did not approve that ratty navy sweatshirt. She's
probably like, you can wear the sweatshirt, you just can't cut the sleeves off, Bill.
You're not cutting sleeves off. We're not talking about our dating relationship. You can wear the navy sweater, but these are the 2 things I will compromise. But these 2 things, no. So,
Nike's about to come out with a UNC cutoff sweater. It's going to be the sweater of the summer.
Oh, I'm sure there are cutoffs or cutoff hoodies coming. Because they're
what would you call that? A cutoff, like how Penn State has the whiteout, the cutoff sleeve hoodie out, the cutoff hoodie out.
Baseball has done it for a while, but it wasn't in sweatshirt material. But they used to call it a pitching jacket or a pitching coach's jacket, and it was like cut jacket. I've got one, and you put them on, you kind of feel a little silly because you have to wear a compression shirt under them, and you're like, well, if you just kept sleeves on, I wouldn't have to wear the shirt under this, but. Bill, that's fine.
They'll have a game where the entire student section's got those cutoff hoodies.
What's the branding going to be like? Like Bill's cutoff hoodie. It keeps you young.
and UNC's a Jumpman school, so it'll be fun to see him.
That's true.
Sporting. He'll have some of the coolest gear he's ever had as a head coach, and won't care. Will not give 2 craps about the.
Here's your $200 Jordan brand hoodie. Oh, cool! Cut sleeves off.
Somebody over the athletic department's got to cut these.
I can't move in these damn things.
All right. Next week we're gonna do our way too early break down the top 10 for college football. Now that transfers have started to slow down, we can at least like see what's going on. One more time, shout out to all the college kids that got drafted, fulfilling a dream. Whether you get to play for 10 games or whether you get to play for 10 years, you made it. This was the
Congrats.
goal. You made it. So good job to you.
And you might be a top pick in a man versus gorilla draft if that ever has to happen.
Yeah,
so.
we need to do that next week. Let's just draft 100 guys. No, let's
football
do
players. That's it.
NFL. How many NFL players do you think we could draft? 10?
It doesn't matter. The gorilla's just clapping everybody anyways.
We have to have Myles Garrett. We have to have Myles Garrett. We got to have Nick Bosa.
Aaron Donald has to come out of retirement.
I'm picking defensive players first thing. I know. Did you guys see DK Metcalf too?
Did you guys see Van Lathan on one of his shows? Yeah. I think they call it Higher Learning. He mentioned Vince Wilfork, and I was like, what's he gonna do? He's gonna die a slow death because he's moving so slow.
Yeah. He'll roll out in that cowboy hat and them overalls.
Golly.
Yeah.
I
love that guy.
Yeah, that whole conversation is just driving me nuts.
That's because people haven't ever been to a zoo and seen a silverback gorilla. Go to the zoo and see a silverback gorilla, and you'll go, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. We put together enough guys.
The funniest piece is I come from HR background, right? I come from like recruiting for corporate recruiting. There are actual statistics that tell you that men are more likely than women to apply for jobs that they are not qualified for.
100%.
And the men that are out there saying that they could help 99 other men take down a fully grown silverback gorilla have absolutely applied to a job that they are not qualified for.
So you see the recruiting numbers for the armed forces right now? They get thousands of guys apply. They can barely find a couple hundred that can pass the PT test.
That's the piece of it, right? Like globally, the average man is 5'7", 160 pounds.
Yeah.
And we're going to throw 100 of those guys at a silverback gorilla that has a grip strength of 1,200 pounds. He's popping skulls like they're freaking oranges. Like
it depends on where you get them from, though, because I know 100 good old boys here in Kentucky. They put up a good,
Yeah, but the problem is they're less tall.
Steve, a silverback gorilla's skin is 3 times thicker than human skin. You can't get through it. Their bones are 4 times the density of a human bone.
Here's what you hope for. He gets overwhelmed and he wears out.
That's what you got to hope for.
He could function at 25% and still destroy an entire military.
Oh, God. His bite alone, I think, are around like 1,500 PSI.
And the first 16 people that go up to him are going to die a very gruesome death. And the 80 other guys that haven't gone yet get to watch that and say, am I next? No. This ain't happening.
Well, it's like the Jack Reacher movie with Tom Cruise, where he's like, it's 5-on-1. He's like, no, it's actually 3-on-1 because the other 2 guys are going to run once this starts.
Yes.
That's how this is going to work.
I've made my position known on social media. I'm joining the gorilla because if it's going to kill me, I want it to know that I had its back the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you'd be the last guy to go. So
and solely for Harambe's I'm honoring Harambe by joining the gorilla side.
I just want one thing. If I have to have I was going to say a weapon, but it wouldn't technically be a weapon. I just want a boombox, a stereo system. I want to blast 90s country like at the end of the Breakfast Club. And I swear he's going to just start dancing and we'll have a great time. We'll put on some Hag and it'll be great. Travis Tritt.
Little Travis Tritt, little Hank Williams. You never know. He might go, I like that.
It'll
be great.
Fighting. What about this dance, though? What about this dance?
Friggin' Star-Lord in the Guardians of the Galaxy's first. Dance off, bruh.
Yeah, it turns into a dance off. See? Yeah. That's the silver lining.
All right, boys. Thanks.